Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's getting a lot of attention: stem cell tourism. Specifically, we're going to compare two of the most popular destinations for these treatments: Panama and Mexico. If you're considering this path for your health, this video is for you. We'll break down the regulations, the types of treatments available, the costs, and the overall experience in both countries to help you make a more informed decision. First, let's talk about the big picture. Why are people traveling for stem cell therapy in the first place? Well, in many countries like the United States, the use of certain types of stem cells, especially culture-expanded mesenchymal stem cells, is heavily restricted and often only available in clinical trials. This has led people to look for options abroad, where regulations might be different. Panama and Mexico have emerged as major hubs, but they are very different in their approaches. Let's start with Panama. For a long time, Panama was seen as the gold standard for stem cell tourism, largely thanks to one prominent clinic with strong ties to a US-based research institute. Their big selling point was using culture-expanded mesenchymal stem cells, or MSCs. What does that mean? It means they take donated umbilical cord tissue, isolate the MSCs, and then grow them in a lab to create huge numbers. We're talking tens or even hundreds of millions of cells per treatment. The theory behind this is more is better. The idea is that by infusing a very high number of potent young cells, you can achieve a more significant therapeutic effect for a wide range of conditions, from autoimmune diseases to orthopedic injuries. Panama's regulatory framework was quite progressive and specifically allowed for this type of cell expansion, which made it unique. The government had a system in place to license and oversee these labs and clinics, providing a layer of official oversight that many patients found reassuring. However, things have changed recently. The regulatory landscape in Panama has shifted, and it's become much more difficult, if not impossible, to get these high-dose culture-expanded treatments. The prominent clinics that once defined the Panama experience have had to alter their protocols or have even stopped operating in the same way. This is a crucial point to understand if you're looking at older information online. What was true a few years ago about Panama may not be true today. The Panama model as we knew it has fundamentally changed. Now, let's shift our focus to Mexico. Mexico is a completely different ballgame. It's become an incredibly popular destination, largely due to its proximity to the US and its much more diverse, and I have to say, much less regulated market. You'll find clinics all over the country, especially in border towns like Tijuana and tourist spots like Cancun and Puerto Vallarta. Unlike Panama's former model focused on one specific type of cell, Mexico offers a bit of everything. You'll find clinics offering treatments from various sources: adipose or fat tissue, bone marrow, umbilical cord blood, and umbilical cord tissue. Here's the key difference though. Most clinics in Mexico do not culture-expand the cells. Instead, they typically use what's called a minimal manipulation process. For example, if they reusing umbilical cord tissue, they process the tissue to create a stromal vascular fraction, or SVT, which contains a mix of cells, including mesenchymal stem cells, but in much lower numbers than you'd get from culture expansion. They might also use cryopreserved or frozen umbilical cord cells that are simply thawed and administered. The cell counts are generally much lower than what was offered in Panama. We're talking maybe 5 to 30 million cells per treatment versus the hundreds of millions. The regulatory environment in Mexico is, frankly, the Wild West. While there is a federal health authority, COFEPRIS, its enforcement over the hundreds of stem cell clinics is inconsistent at best. Some clinics operate with proper licenses, while many others operate in a gray area. This lack of uniform oversight is the single biggest risk of seeking treatment in Mexico. You have a huge variation in quality, safety protocols, and a doctor's expertise from one clinic to the next. So let's talk about cost, because this is a major factor for everyone. Historically, Panama was the more expensive option. A treatment course could easily cost between $20,000 to $30,000 or more. This price reflected the complex and costly process of culturing cells in a high-tech lab. Mexico, on the other hand, is generally much more affordable. Because the cell processing is less complex, no lab expansion, the overhead is lower. You might find treatments in Mexico ranging from $4,000 to $15,000. This lower price point is a huge draw for many people, but it comes with that trade-off in regulation and cell count that we just discussed. It's not an apples to apples comparison. You're paying for a different product and a different level of regulatory certainty. So, which one is better? That's the million-dollar question, and there's no easy answer. It really depends on your priorities and your tolerance for risk. If we're talking about the old Panama, the argument was for those quality-controlled lab-grown cells under a specific government-regulated framework. It was a premium product at a premium price. The downside was the cost and the travel. But with the recent changes, the primary advantage of Panama has been significantly diminished. It's no longer the clear leader for high-dose expanded cells. Mexico's main advantage is accessibility and cost. It's easier to get to for North Americans, and the price is significantly lower. The variety of treatments available means you might find a clinic specializing in a specific approach you're interested in. However, the huge risk is the lack of regulation and standardization. You, the patient, bear the entire burden of vetting the clinic. You have to ask the hard questions. Where do your cells come from? Are they tested for viability and contamination? What are your doctor's qualifications? Can you show me your licenses? So here's my advice if you're considering this journey. First, do your homework. And I mean hours and hours of it. Don't just rely on a clinic's flashy website or testimonials. Look for independent reviews, join patient forums, and try to speak with past patients directly. Second, for Mexico especially, due diligence is non-negotiable. Ask for proof of everything. A legitimate clinic should be transparent and willing to provide documentation for their cell sources, their lab processes, and their government licenses. If they are evasive or can't provide clear answers, that is a massive red flag. Walk away. Third, have a realistic conversation with your doctor at home before you go. While they may not be able to endorse your trip, they can help you understand your current health status and any potential risks involved in traveling or receiving a specific treatment. Finally, understand that this is not a magic bullet. While many patients report positive results, these treatments are still considered experimental. There are no guarantees. Anyone promising a cure is being dishonest and should not be trusted. The goal should be a potential improvement in quality of life, management of symptoms, or slowing of disease progression. To sum it all up, Panama's golden age of high-dose, regulated stem cell therapy seems to be over for now. Mexico has stepped in to fill the void, offering more affordable and accessible options. But it comes with a significant buyer beware warning due to the lack of consistent regulation. The responsibility to find a safe and reputable clinic falls squarely on your shoulders. This is a complex and deeply personal decision. I hope this comparison has given you a clearer framework for thinking about your options. Your health is your most valuable asset, so please be thorough and cautious in your research. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on health and wellness. And drop a comment below if you have any experience with this topic or have questions. Let's keep the conversation going. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.